Thank you so much for that, Marley. All right, well, shares of Nebius have soared this month and have rallied over 270% this year. The boost this month came off the heels of an AI deal with Microsoft to provide infrastructure for AI workloads. And I'm very pleased to say joining us now is Mark Borodotsky, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at Nebius. Thank you so much for your time, Mark. So you've been around for a while, but you really sort of came to, I suppose, people's minds in a big way off the back of this deal with Microsoft. We'll get to that partnership in a second, but just explain exactly what Nebius does.
Hey, Sam, it's a pleasure to be here today, and thank you for having me on the show. Nebius is an AI infrastructure company. We provide a full stack of capabilities from the hardware that people need, so the GPUs that many people talk about, a software layer that supports the AI engineer and the workloads that they're using in order to be able to build optimized models, and the inference capabilities once they put them into production. So you can think of us as a full stack capable supplier, sort of like what AWS did back in their origin for traditional apps, except tuned and focused on AI requirements.
Okay, and you rent out the AI infrastructure, is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you for making that point. We are just like AWS in the sense that we deliver it as a service. So an AI engineer can sign up with a credit card and they can get access to as little or as much requirements as they may see fit. And we can scale with small customers or take on the biggest workloads like what you described a moment ago about our Microsoft partnership.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting because obviously Microsoft didn't choose to go it alone here, and very much working with outside partnerships in order to really keep up with the enormous AI demand here. So let's talk about that deal, $19.4 billion, which takes you through to 2031. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's an honor to be considered by one of the most important leading technology companies in the world to be able to partner with them to support their requirements. It's probably one of the largest AI transactions. I mean, up until the Oracle announcement, obvious about their deal. It's an opportunity to scale with them, and it's going to help us to continue to scale our business and provide us resources to support our core business, which is what we talked about earlier, which is the delivery of the AI infrastructure that we're selling to the rest of the marketplace.
Okay, and your Q2 revenue coming in at $105.1 million, 625% year-on-year jump, no doubt driven by some of the high-profile clients that you boast there. I'm just wondering, we talk a lot about some of the risk with your reliance, or at least other companies' reliance on just a few hyperscalers. So give us a sense of, sort of who your clients are and, how you're mitigating some of that risk that we talk about out there in the market.
And it's not just mitigating the risk, it's actually the core business of Nebius. We're primarily focused on servicing AI startups. So the engineers that are building the next generation of models and AI-enabled applications, as well as the labs and research organizations that are out there that are inventing the next generation of capabilities. We're also selling more and more to software vendors, and we're starting to sell to major enterprises. So we're going to span the entire market, reach the four corners of opportunity across all segments of customers.
Mark, you only took on this role about 6 months ago, if I'm correct. I'm just wondering, how you're managing to sort of win over this business, and also whether you're surprised at just the pace that we've been seeing.
I would be lying if I said that I anticipated everything that came. This is an extraordinary situation. The amount of demand, the amount of interest, the pace at which this market is moving, I've never seen before, and I've seen all the previous tech waves. What's really interesting is it's durable. In other words, there's an expanding set of opportunities in each segment of the market, and we're seeing more and more open up to us. So I would say that what's in front of us is dramatically greater than what we've already reported and shown that's behind us.
Okay, so you're a European company listed here in the US, backed by NVIDIA. I'm just wondering, there's been a lot of conversations just particularly over the last week, given some of the pullback we've seen in some of the big names, around the energy that's going to be used to power all of this stuff. I mean, how are you looking at that as far as some of the risks and potential constraints right now?
Our data center team is extremely creative in the way that they think about building out the infrastructure that we rely upon. And we are already making plans to be able to support an expanding energy capacity. As a matter of fact, we shared on our last earnings call the fact that we have lined up a gigawatt. And what I can tell you is we're continuing to build those plans to take that to multiple gigawatts in the foreseeable future. We're built in a way that we can locate data centers across all the regions, and we build them from scratch, or we can go into other people's facilities. So highly flexible approach to the way that we're building out our entire back-end infrastructure and being able to accommodate probably a little bit more of an aggressive expansion plan than others.
Okay, interesting. I just got an interesting question for you as far as being, a European company. As I mentioned, you are listed here in the US, but what we're seeing right now over in Europe is it trying to, I suppose, reach a goal of its own autonomy, particularly when it comes to tech, and trying to reduce its reliance on, Silicon Valley, also to provide the market with, you could say, an investment alternative. And, one sort of partnership that comes to mind is what we've seen with ASML and Mistral just recently, which does very much position itself as a competitor to the likes of OpenAI and DeepSeek. So it almost feels like we're seeing what is happening in the US, what is happening in China, and what is happening in Europe right now. I'm just wondering, what your take on all of that is at the moment.
Well, there's no question that our European roots gives us a unique advantage in the discussions that are taking place around sovereign requirements or country-specific interest in being able to operate infrastructure that is separate from the United States. It's also at the same time not disadvantaged us in terms of being able to build our business in the US. As a matter of fact, I'm calling in today from the Bay Area, and the lion's share of our customers today are in the Bay Area. Now, looking out past that, we are working with a number of sovereign priority opportunities. And as a matter of fact, we now have data centers that are opening in the UK, France, Israel, we're in Finland, we're in Iceland. We're going to continue to expand that footprint to be able to meet customers where they are and be able to work with the authorities to be able to support their priorities.
Okay, geographically diversified as well. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today, Mark. Thank you so much for your time and helping us get across your business and what you've been up to. Mark Borodotsky, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at Nebius.